winter's night, but my heart still aches for those who fight for freedom's flame in the darkest light. True freedom fighters, the Mavericks we praise, blazing their trails through shadowy days. They stand unbroken, their courage shines for every soul, for all mankind. All I want for Christmas is freedom, for every maverick to lead the way. Goodwill toward men, let the light begin, and a brighter dawn for a brand new day. Break the chains of tyranny, let the world hear our rights are from a higher place, so clear. All I want this Christmas, my cheer, is freedom for all far and near. The battle's not over, the war still calls against those who build oppression's walls. But the Maverick spirit will never fade, a beacon of hope through history's blade. So we pray for strength and we stand as one, for the rights of the many and the dreams yet spun. The gift of freedom, it knows no price, born of courage, sacrifice. All I want for Christmas is freedom, for every maverick to lead the way. Goodwill toward men, let the light begin, and a brighter dawn for a brand new day. Break the chains of tyranny, let the world hear our rights are from a higher place, so clear. All I want this Christmas, my cheer, is freedom for all far and near. Let's honor the brave, the fearless, the true, the Mavericks who dare to break through. Their fight's our fight, their cause divine. Freedom for all, for your heart and mind. All I want for Christmas is freedom, for every maverick to light the way. Goodwill toward men, let the peace begin, and a brighter world for us to stay. Stand against dictators, let justice ring, our rights from above, the anthem we sing. All I want for Christmas this year is freedom for all far and near. Ooh. This Christmas we remember the Maverick so bold, who carried the torch in the freezing cold. Freedom's the gift, the fight never done. This Christmas we pray it's for everyone.
Welcome back to the Maverick News Channel, everyone. Hello, Maverick family. December 23rd, just a couple of more sleeps and the big guy's going to be here. Pretty exciting stuff, especially for the kidlets. We have quite a few things to talk about tonight. I'm going to comment more on the Nicki Minaj thing because I saw some people commenting even after the program last night. And then I was, kind of looking online too to see how people have been reacting to the Nicki Minaj America Fest appearance and her declaration of faith on stage with Erica Kirk. I have a few things that I'd like to express, to expand on last night's conversation. Also, do you know why Donald Trump really wants to take over Canada. Well, I'm going to share the secret. Something very few people have figured out. It's coming up. What else do we have for you? Drones, undersea drones. Talk about undersea drones from China off in the Caribbean. I don't know. I don't know. More escalation, more talk, more saber rattling. I don't know. It's very InfoWarish. We'll touch on that too. Plus, we're going to talk about political correctness, censorship of Christmas, which still is ongoing, even in this new phase or MAGA era when that kind of thing was supposed to be waning. It's still very present, certainly here in Canada. And we're just going to take a little look at that. And then I have an oldie but a goodie to run, a Christmas cartoon that you're going to like. It's not a long one, but it's going to tie into that whole conversation. And then I've got a special tune lined up for the end of the broadcast that I hope you like. And I hope you like what we're going to do when we come back on the other side of this, because it's news time.
Greetings, brave Mavericks. Our quest for truth continues. We go beyond fake news. Together we expose propaganda. Together we pull others out of rabbit holes. We are maverick thinkers. We are all unique individuals, defenders of individual rights and freedoms, credible, trusted, grounded in reality. Maverick News, Maverick News. Defending free speech, free speech. Donate at freedomreporters.com. Do it now. Tomorrow may be too late. Maverick News. The world is watching.
Okay. Before we even get going on any of this stuff tonight, I just want to say thank you to all of you guys, because you're freaking awesome. Really, I mean, we're very fortunate. I'm super lucky, and I think just we as a group here are very fortunate to have such a great bunch of people, a great family, and it has become a family, a community, and I just want to say thanks for the support, because it hasn't been easy to kind of keep it together here, you know, in a political environment where we talk about politics and we deal with issues that really do divide people, get people fighting. You know, 1 month people are the best of friends, and then some issue comes along that divides, and there's a disagreement, and people get upset, and then people stop talking to each other, and they fight. And yeah, and then it's a very, very difficult thing to navigate. But through it all, we're still here. Well, not all of us. But I have faith that a lot of the people that maybe have wandered away are going to come back. Maybe not. And some of them just have never left because, you know, they're over on the haters channel. But we love you guys too. You make the show, I got to tell you. So we are very lucky because we've got the best of the best of the best people and the best haters anywhere. And so I love y'all. And thank you. Yeah, and if we have new viewers and you don't understand what the heck I'm talking about, we've sort of designated the Twitch channel for all the haters. And so everybody gets to go over there and hate me. And because I'm the guy they love to hate. So that's okay. So keep it on. Love you guys. I really do. It's just the best. Anyway, and we've got some new people over there, and I think on Twitch, and they're not participating in the chat too much. I think it's scaring some people. But it's Christmas, so be kind to each other. We're going to talk Christmas tonight, just a bit. I do have something special lined up for you. With regard to that. Now, before we get into all of that, this is not good for our friend Mr. Trump, because the Justice Department has released what some are saying is now their most significant batch of Jeffrey Epstein files yet, including many that mention Donald Trump. So here's what we've got. Justice Department today released this trove of records related to Jeffrey Epstein. It includes allegations about his ties to President Trump, and the release is the largest from the DOJ so far to comply with the Epstein Files Transparency Act. And it does include new information along with claims about Trump that the department said are unfounded and false. There's a letter in there that they're saying is not real, but they released it, and it's okay. Well, so yeah, there was this email published today claimed that flight logs show Trump flew on Epstein's plane at least 8 times in the 1990s, including once with an unnamed, redacted 20-year-old woman. And so this email, according to a federal prosecutor in New York, it was sent in January. And from this federal prosecutor to an undisclosed person, and it says, for your situational awareness, wanted to let you know that the flight records we received yesterday reflect that Donald Trump traveled on Epstein's private jet many more times than previously has been reported or that we were aware, including during the period we would expect to charge in a Ghislaine Maxwell case. Maxwell, of course, Epstein's accomplice, and all of this was indicted in 2020 on federal sex trafficking charges, found guilty, serving a 20-year prison sentence, now moved over to a cushy country club style prison in exchange for what we don't really know, but you can read between the lines, I guess. So the email says that Trump, who at the time was serving as president, is, quote, listed as a passenger on at least 8 flights between 1993 and 1996, including at least 4 flights on which Maxwell was also present. He is listed as having traveled with, among others, at various times, Marla Maples, his daughter Tiffany, and his son Eric. On one flight, it continues, in 1993, he and Epstein are the only 2 listed passengers. On another, the only 3 passengers are Epstein, Trump, and then 20-year-old, name redacted. On 2 other flights, 2 of the passengers, respectively, were women who would be possible witnesses in a Maxwell case. And so we don't have the name of either the sender or the recipient. That's all been redacted. The White House official has referred questions about the email and the broader release to a statement that the Justice Department put up on social media today, and that post does confirm that there were multiple references to Trump in this release of documents. Says some include untrue and sensationalist claims, though. So they're not true, they're fake, sensationalistic, but they released them. They've now released the Department of Justice, nearly 30,000 more pages of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. Some of these documents contain untrue and sensationalist claims, they say, made against President Trump that were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election. It goes on, and this is a quote from a statement from the DOJ. To be clear, the claims are unfounded and false, and if they had a shred of credibility, they certainly would have been weaponized against President Trump already. Was what they said in their post. It goes on and says, nevertheless, out of our commitment to the law and to transparency, the DOJ is releasing these documents with the legally required protections for Epstein's victims. So the saga continues. The controversy drags on. The embarrassment for Trump continues. Justified? You can decide. Is he being victimized again, or is there fire where there's smoke? This keeps going on and on and on. And so many of these documents have been released. I think it's going to take more time for people to really sift through them, at least another day or two, before we really start getting to the bottom of all of this stuff. Now, going to take a real short break, and then when we come back, we're going to tell you about another scandal.
And also Donald Trump. Coincidence? Just dumb luck. Right? Another sealed file. That crocodile smile. We did our best, says the DOJ, while the truth just fades away. Another new spin. No one will win except the rich guys with gold ID cards and closets full of secrets behind steel bars. Just a little glitch. A billionaire's privilege. That's the sound of the case. Closed.
We have the DOJ document or post release. Let's bring it up for you, if the computer will catch up. Un momento. Here we go. And there it is on X. Oh, I've been conditioned. I'm changing the way I talk. It's not Twitter now, Rick. It's X. Oh, you're complying. So much for the resistance. U.S. Department of Justice. The Department of Justice has officially released nearly 30,000 more pages of documents related to Jeffrey Epstein. Some of these documents contain, I already read this in the story, but there it is, just to show you that it is accurate, what we said. And readers added context they thought people might want to know. It says here, the claim of commitment to transparency is unfounded. DOJ missed the December 19th deadline mandated by the bipartisan Epstein Files Transparency Act, releases only partial, heavily redacted files, and now faces bipartisan criticism for noncompliance and excessive redactions. Assess as you will, Mavericks. Assess as you will. Like I say, these folks live in a different world. Lifestyles of the rich, famous, and I don't know. What's the third description? The third descriptor? Well, rich, famous, and decadent. There's a good word. Lifestyles of the rich, famous, and decadent. Russell Brand. Yeah, celebrity. Big audience. Think he's got some money too. As a celebrity, I don't know how much. But he's in hot water. Again, still. Here he is. As you can see. Faces new rape charge. This is a time of great darkness, confusion, and conflict. Russell Brand has been hit with 2 new criminal charges. Women coming forward, see, from separate incidents in 2009. So this brings the total number of charges against him, 7, involving 6 women. And instead of just directly addressing the new allegations, Russell Brand has posted a Christmas video filled with spiritual reflection, prayer, and talk of trials and grace. Born-again Christian, I guess he is. He says he's focused on growth, atonement, and revealing the truth about who he really is, all while pointing to 2026 as a year of major battles ahead. And that was a quote from him that I started with on this story, him saying, this is a time of great darkness, a time of confusion and dispute and conflict. Attack can bring about grace. I'm grateful for the opportunity to participate in change and transformation and love. But hey, why should I say what he says when he can say it himself?
Most adored and beloved friends, season's greetings, and it is the season of Christ Jesus, Lord and Savior, the coming of the light and the power. This is a time of great darkness. You're all aware of that. A time of confusion and dispute and conflict. But I've learned in my own life that attack can bring about grace. I'm so grateful for the opportunity that in my own life that I get to participate in change and transformation and growth and love. And I feel so blessed that I have the opportunity to atone for the many things over the years that I did wrong, and the opportunity to ensure that people understand the truth of my situation and scenario. Oh Lord, I ask that the people that see this video are able to pay attention to what's happened in the last couple of years when it comes to media, independent media, politics, not only in the United States of America, but of course in my home, the UK, that appears to be using bureaucracy increasingly to legitimize authority. I pray, Lord, that anyone that I've harmed or hurt in my years of mindlessness in sin would be healed, Lord. I pray for infinite light and wonderful healing for them. And I pray, Lord, for the absolute truth of who I am to be abundantly revealed, and who I've always been, Lord, who I've always been, because I am your creation. You are my master. I pray for comfort for all of those that are suffering. I pray for all those that are suffering, Lord, that we would be healed in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ, in this Christmas season. Hey, 26 is going to be big. Let Jesus Christ into your life. There are going to be big, staged, I don't want to say battles, trials is what I'm going to call them. Trials, but as it says in James, we consider it great joy when we face trials of any kind. Jesus Christ, I love you, and I love all of you. Have a beautiful Christmas. Mwah!
Maybe. People can learn from mistakes. People can learn from experience. Sometimes people are falsely accused. They can change their lifestyle. People do change over time. And how sincere is this? I don't just, I'm not much of a follower. I'm a Maverick. My dad told me that a long time ago. You guys are too. I think that's a good thing. Even if it does put you at odds with some people who just become committed to a tribe or a team and refuse to let go of what they've come to believe because they just can't admit that maybe what they've been following has not been entirely genuine. Not to say that they've made a mistake, but maybe they've been deceived. Over time, like during the pandemic, that was a milestone moment for the world. And a lot of people really ended up being drawn into political camps and even religious camps because of the terrible things that were being done to people, lockdowns, mandates. But then over time, as the pandemic was still upon us, a lot of people exploited that in order to recruit people to generate support for a political cause or to just generate money or just to build a YouTube channel or whatever it might be. But over time, as we got further and further away from the pandemic, which is still, weighing on all of us in many ways. But as time has gone on, I've seen the inconsistencies, the hypocrisy within, these political groups, the left and the right. Certainly during the pandemic, you saw the worst of the worst of the worst of the authoritarians, I think more on the progressive side of the political spectrum. But when I think of during the presidential election last, the RFK Jr. campaign, I saw Russell Brand on stage with Jordan Peterson, both of them still being propped up, put on a pedestal as heroes of the conservative movement. And yet there they are on this stage with a former Democrat, somebody who Trump, I think he even called RFK Jr. a communist at one point, certainly left-wing socialist, didn't like RFK Jr. And he does come from that sort of political soup. But there stood Jordan Peterson, who had been sort of absent from the public scene for quite a while because of his drug use. Well, he writes books about clean up your room, right? And then there's Russell Brand on stage, and I think he'd had sexual assault allegations leveled at him again, multiple times, even up to that point. And people still cheering for them, just I think because they're like celebrities. Not to say that I don't like Jordan Peterson. I just see that these are flawed people. They're not perfect. And there is some degree of hypocrisy there. And I think a lot of celebrities, a lot of people who get into the public spotlight, including a lot of journalists or news types or influencers, they end up just saying things that they know people want to hear so that they can build audience. Or because they kind of feel trapped after a while, they kind of get backed into a corner and well, I took a position on this and I can't change because I've said these things. And in order to keep the people I've got, I can't shift my position at all. You kind of back yourself into a corner. In fact, it was said to me, this would be almost 2 years ago now, I think. And I can't really divulge who it was or what the subject matter was at the time. But in a private conversation, we were talking about something that had happened and how we had both taken sort of a position and had aligned ourselves editorially with a particular side on the matter. And the person said to me, and I said, well, like, and you could see that things had gone wrong. And so that support was no longer warranted. But because we had already kind of offered up editorial support over time for that one side, you were kind of embedded with it. And so this person said to me, because I was like, I can't support that. And that person's response was, well, it's a little late now. And so that person continued down that path, but I shifted because it was truth. And it's scary to do it because if you go against the grain, people attack you. Next thing you know, you've got a whole channel devoted to haters. But I also know from experience and from what I've been taught from very smart people over the years, media people like really seasoned journalists that taught me when I was young. Celebrities come, celebrities go. Journalists come, journalists go. Media types, personalities, they're here today, gone tomorrow. A lot of them end up being like flashes in the pan, shooting stars. The secret to success in this business or craft is survival. And you know what it takes to survive in the long run? It's simple, man. Just tell the truth. And that's a word that just is thrown around so much that it's really lost its weight and even its definition. It's been watered down, so people don't really even know what truth is anymore. But I think I've got a pretty good handle on what truth is. Not sure that we're always getting there, but we're trying to get you closer every night. And the only way we can do that is if you're wrong about something. And that doesn't mean that you've made a mistake. It's sometimes that you've been deceived. And so you have to acknowledge it and you have to progress. You have to evolve. You have to be willing to look at all sides of things, not just two, all sides, take in all the information and shift if you need to. Hate the word, you use the word pivot, but yeah, you can do that. Don't get too committed to any one thing because sometimes there's just blatant hypocrisy that becomes apparent. Hypocrisy, inconsistencies, outright lying, and people do these things for less than noble reasons, certainly less than righteous reasons. That brings me to the whole Nicki Minaj thing. We won't run a bunch of clips tonight, but we spent a fair amount of time on that subject matter last night. So there's America Fest, and you have Erica Kirk bringing Nicki Minaj on stage as like the surprise. So this celebrity comes out there, fireworks. It's like a televangelist's super show. It really, that's it, and it really was. I mean, it not to knock religion at all, but like the production values, the approach, the whole thing. This was like evangelical televangelism, wrapped up by a political rally at Turning Point USA. What an extravaganza. What a show. And that's what it was. So here's Nicki Minaj. And she's talking about religion. Okay, like anybody can be religious. There are, even murderers can find God while serving out a life sentence. Even the most monstrous of people can find Christ, I guess. But do you want to put that person up on a stage? And I'm not saying Nicki Minaj is in that category at all, but she's the queen of twerking. And she has these hypersexualized shows that she performs. And it's just this complete inconsistency within the MAGA movement, the conservative movement, whatever you want to call it, the populist movement. That's more accurate. And there's so much of this inconsistency to Russell Brand, Jordan Peterson. I'm not a racist, but then it turns out they take their mask off. And what do you see behind there? There's a lot of racism with some of these people. And you're seeing that was on full display at this America Fest because the whole thing is being divided. But back to Nicki Minaj, it's generating controversy because Charlie Kirk himself said that he didn't think that Nicki Minaj was a good role model. And so the reason I'm talking about it tonight is because after our program last night, I went through and I was looking at some comments online in our comments section. And it's fair enough to sit there and say, as I saw some people commenting saying, well, Nicki Minaj has found God. So let's support that. Various people, people saying in various ways. And not really like on our channel, people weren't really attacking me for just pointing out the inconsistency and hypocrisy, but, kind of backing up Nicki Minaj and the decision to bring her onto the stage and put her on a pedestal and prop her up as this hero of MAGA, the queen. Now, today, being called the queen of MAGA, Nicki Minaj. But the whole MAGA movement has been sort of, inconsistent from the beginning, really, because here's a party, a political movement, took over the Republican Party, turned the Republicans into populists, and from the very beginning, what song does Donald Trump play at his rallies at the end? YMCA. Viewed by many, and I think it is a gay anthem. And this is about, and I don't care. I'm just pointing out that this is like, how does that wash with the Christian people who are opposed to homosexuality and want a return on a grand scale to traditional values? Because that's what it is. This war on liberalism, progressivism, it's largely being fought on the culture war footing. And so I just see that it's like as soon as this celebrity comes out on stage, everyone, including Erica Kirk, they're starstruck. And Nicki Minaj comes out and they start talking about God. And I'm like, what? And I stand by what I said last night because it's completely inconsistent. It doesn't make any sense. And it's like the bloody ostrich thing, right? You've got all these anti-vaxxers who go out to the farm to support the farm that was engaged in research with antibodies that for some reason they can't figure out that they would be using that stuff on the COVID side and even the bird flu side. Not that they really did any research in there, but to develop vaccines. I'm like, this is crazy. Same with this, because the people that I saw supporting Nicki Minaj, largely, most of them that I saw commenting were women. A lot of them mothers. Who are upset about things like drag queen story time and don't want their kids to go anywhere near a drag queen story time event. And yet they think Nicki Minaj is cool and it's great to have Nicki Minaj, converting to MAGAism and Trumpism, whatever. And yet I just, it defies logic for me, because with Nicki Minaj, she appeals to a young audience, including teens, even preteens. And you have these moms taking, like they do, like I saw posts about it. Some of these people who are into like traditional values and they're big Trump supporters, and they take their teenage daughters to these concerts. And I see that you have parents, moms taking kids as young as 5 to 10 years old to these shows where the lyrics are hypersexualized and the kids are sometimes singing along with these songs, or they do. And well, some people are sitting there, save the children. Remember the whole save the children thing? Some of the people that I saw commenting were all in on the anti-LGBTQS plus movement. And yet Nicki Minaj has a core base, or at least a large following of like the LGBTQ community and gay men. And so I'm like, okay, whatever, it's cool, whatever you want. I think they call them the Barbs, these gay men that are like huge Nicki Minaj fans, and they support her and they go to her concerts, and gay men, they refer to them as the Ken Barbs, because Nicki Minaj has this image of being like a super Barbie, right? With her big booty and her twerking. I'm like, okay. So you don't want drag queen story time, but then you go to a Nicki Minaj concert you don't want your kids subjected to drag queen story time, but then you take your kids to a concert where they're singing a song called like Anaconda. Do you not see the double entendre there? Get out your anaconda. This is not Romper Room. And I don't think, maybe they don't realize that what Nicki Minaj also does is sort of this reverse drag queen story time, or this reverse drag show thing, because she has this character that she slips in and out of, an alter ego that she calls it, as Roman Zolanski, that she uses for aggressive verses in some of her songs. And Roman Zolanski is basically like the character is this cross-dressing gay male transgender. True. And Nicki Minaj says that's what's inside of her. And so she has been promoting, and still does, identity politics. Again, exactly what people on the conservative side are opposed. So none of this makes sense. And while Nicki Minaj says that she has found God, in fact, she's never said that she left God and became like a born again Christian. She's saying that she's always been religious from the time she was young, but she's just sort of rediscovering it and rekindling it it's not like it's a new thing for her. So she's not really changing her views, and she has not changed her shows. She still twerks. They're still hypersexualized. She still does Roman Zelensky. She still does all of this stuff. And I'm a pretty tolerant guy. So really, you can do what you want because I believe in freedom. I'm just pointing out that this is very inconsistent, and I just don't quite understand the support. And I don't understand why they would bring Nicki Minaj on stage, except that they're trying to broaden the tent, I guess, politically, and bring celebrities in to try and just generate more support. Or maybe it's because they felt that the MAGA movement is growing and they have to make room for more people. But this is dysfunctional and it's going to fly apart. There's no way this is going to stick. Over time, it'll disintegrate. But most political movements do to some degree. And then they reconstitute later. It's just, but it blows my mind. Oh, Nicki Minaj, yeah, and they're all cheering at the crowd. And then the comments that I saw after the program last night just perplex me, especially coming from some of the people that I know who commented, because it was like, but I know that you're very much opposed to some of these other things that Minaj has been supporting, endorsing, promoting, lifestyle. And as some of these moms, I know some of them are moms. I'm like, really? Because I know that if you caught your daughter twerking, you'd go ballistic. But you'd think it's cool and okay because it's Nicki Minaj. But people, I guess, are blinded by celebrity, blinded by money, the power. And there she was on stage, and she really didn't say much of real philosophical value, or I don't, other than, tolerance, which cool with me. Man, what do you guys think? Looking in there. I don't know if anybody's even coming. Are we running? I don't think we're running on Rumble. Well, look at that. Yeah, Rumble 2's up. I'm not running on Rumble 1. I wasn't aware. Well, everybody can go to Rumble 2. I can put it in the chat. If I stop now, the whole broadcast is going to go down. So let me get you the link so everybody can go over to Rumble 2. That'll help out Rumble 2 channel, if you guys don't mind. We got pretty rushed here today because I've got so much going on. Here we go. Let's see what's going on over here on Rumble 2. Yeah, this is Rumble 2. People are in there. Yep. Okay, I'm going to put the link here. Go back over here. I'm going to post the link to the Rumble 2 channel in the chat on Rumble 1. There it is. And I'll make a little message here for people. I'm very sorry. Technical problem tonight. There you go. Well, it'll just build up Rumble 2, I guess. Was not aware we were not running. Yeah. YMCA makes no sense at all, says Dana Klassen. Yeah, put it in over here. Yeah, sorry about that, folks. So hopefully people will follow us over there. I'm really, really sorry that we had this technical problem. I can't on the fly just add in the other channel. I don't think I've never been able to do it, and it takes about 20 minutes to half an hour just to set up the stream, and that's not going to fly because I have an important conference call about a story that we have to investigate at the end of the broadcast tonight. So I can't go too late. Okay, let's take a little break. We're going to come back, and then we're just going to keep on motoring along here on the channels that we are broadcasting on. So stay with me. Be right back.
Maverick News isn't just a news outlet, it's a community of truth seekers. Your donation at freedomreporters.com fuels our mission to report the stories that mainstream media won't touch. Thank you, Maverick family.
Okay, so yeah, we do have some people over on Rumble too, so that's cool. People are moving over, I guess. And we're on YouTube tonight. You have to be careful what we do on YouTube, though, because we're going to talk now about this 60-minute story on the deportations to El Salvador and the CCOT thing. So here we go. So as we reported last night, CBS spiked this story, or at least saying that they're delaying it. Barry Weiss. So she says they need to do more work on it. And that's they have people over there threatening to quit over this because they're being accused of corporate censorship, and I think there's some truth probably to that because they're getting pressure and they're afraid of how Donald Trump and the White House might respond to all of this. So somehow global television in Kazakhstan accidentally ran online the report, which is about almost 14 minutes in length, little shy of that, and then realized that they weren't supposed to air that portion, and but it went out on social media, and even though it was taken down, people made copies, and now, as I'm going to show you, the entire story, that segment on 60 Minutes ran anyway online, and people are reposting it. But as fast as they are reposting it, CBS is filing copyright claims, trying to have it taken down and scrubbed from the internet. So over on YouTube, they're the most aggressive. Over on Twitter, they too, though, are they're not as aggressive about it. This copy of it has been up at least through the afternoon today.
You may recall earlier this year when the Trump administration deported hundreds of Venezuelan men to El Salvador, a country most had no connection to.
So I'm not going to run too much of it because it is copyrighted and, we'll get hit. So stop there. But if you want to see it, I will post the link right here in the chat. So you can go find it and watch the whole thing for yourself, and then you can decide. And something like this maybe transcends copyright law because of the public interest and the way U.S. copyright law would apply here. Nevertheless, even X under Elon Musk is complying, and they are taking it down because it is a copyright issue, not so much a censorship issue for them. So it's a legal thing, ownership, property rights, intellectual property rights. And I'll put that in the chat there on channel 1 for those of you who are still over there. Trying to get everybody to move over to Rumble 2. And we'll go over here to Rumble 2, and I'll put it in the chat over there too. There you go. And thanks for your understanding over there, everybody. If you're watching us now, there we go. Yeah, we're on Rumble 2. We're rocking and rolling. Now we need a little support over here on Rumble 2 anyway. So it's good for Rumble 2 channel tonight to build it up. So thanks for everybody for doing that. So yeah, it's still generating a lot of controversy. And I'd say that this segment maybe will end up getting more views in the end because it's been scrubbed. Now, CBS isn't saying that if they were canceling it, they were postponing it. But of course, that means they're going to rework it. And now you'll be able to see the original version versus whatever it is they come out with. What they're saying over there, the editorial executives at CBS, is that they didn't, I think that they said they didn't have input from the Trump administration. And so they wanted more balance. That's fair. That is fair. And if that's all they're doing, then fair. And if they think they need to wait a little bit longer, and immediacy here, I don't think is that critical because the story will remain as fresh a week or two from now as it is today. But the Trump administration didn't respond to requests for comment. And so CBS is going out of its way, way out of its way, to give voice to the administration if they choose to participate in the journalistic process here. Keep your eye on it. Keep your eye on it. Okay. Lots of people watching on the YouTube channels tonight, so that's good too. What else do we have for you tonight? I've got some kind of unique stuff to talk about, and some of it related, directly to our Maverick family, because, well, let me start with this. We'll come back to this thing about our family, or at least a family member, which is really what kind of got me focused on this. Do you know why Donald Trump really wants to take over Canada? He's jealous. Super jealous. I'll show you why. It's because of Santa Claus. Did you know that Santa Claus is a Canadian citizen? And did you further know that Canada has sovereign rights over the North Pole? That the North Pole is part of Canada? So of course Donald Trump wants to take over Canada because he wants the North Pole. And he wants to annex Santa's home. This is a story on CTV. Canada says Santa Claus is a Canadian citizen, and it claims Canadian sovereignty extends to his North Pole residence and workshop. And it's true, man, because you can go to the post office. And this, you know what? Think about that. Miracle on 34th Street. How did they prove Santa's existence? Letters mailed to Santa Claus, and it's a federal offense to commit an act of fraud like that, right? By putting a false address and mailing something to somebody that doesn't exist. And yet the post office processes those letters every single year. And here in Canada, the post office has a direct line to the North Pole, to Santa himself. And as you know, you can send letters to Santa. And what is it? HOHOHO is the postal code. It's true. And Canada administers that. So the federal government did proclaim Santa's Canadian citizenship in 2008. Its sovereignty over the North Pole is contested, and the United Nations has yet to rule on Canada's claims to extend its Arctic reach, it says. Other countries, including Finland, Denmark, claim Santa Claus lives and works within their borders. Everybody wants Santa. Now, each year, Canada Post receives more than 1 million letters addressed to Santa Claus, which proves he's real, and the legendary figure known for delivering presents to children around the world in his red and white suit. Perhaps those colors are a symbol of St. Nick's Canadian pride, indeed, because according to his mailing address, he resides in Kanakistan. Yeah, Donald, he's probably a communist. Because he gives away stuff. He's such a socialist. He doesn't try to make a profit on anybody. He's anti-capitalist. No wonder he wants the North Pole. Well, too bad, so sad, man. Santa's on our side. It's nice to have the big guy with you, isn't it? I mean, the real big guy. And he's a big guy. I don't know how the reindeer get him up off the ground. Flying around. They're strong. It's the magic, what is it that they feed the reindeer? The magic feed. They eat that and then they fly. I don't know what's in that stuff, man, but they take off. I don't know if that's setting a good example for the kidlets, but we'll leave that one with you too. Now that brings me to the the tie-in with one of our Mavericks who sent me a message, and I won't tell you who it is because it doesn't really matter and don't need to mention names. But one of our Mavericks went on a. Let me see if I can find the message because it's very relevant and here we go. So very relevant to what is going on in our world today. Here we go. They went to one of those, light show things in a park where they have like thousands and thousands of lights and you get to drive through. So many communities do that now. And so here's what was said. And I'm not telling you who it was because I didn't ask for permission, but I want to share this with you. They probably wouldn't be upset anyway. They can, whatever. But as you know, we went to this light thing last night and they were very disappointed. Some Xmas music had words removed to be respectful, like the word Eskimo. And then there's the lights. It shows different religions and whatnot. First one is the Jewish religion. Then after that is every single one says Merry Christmas. You get to the Canadian one and it's Happy Holidays. So literally, if you ever tell anybody Happy Holidays, Grandma's writing Santa Claus, it's Merry Christmas for the love of God. I know. I say Merry Christmas and people don't like it. Well, that's just tough. I'm not going to walk around saying Happy Holidays. No, because the intolerance, it goes both ways, man. It does. So I'm not going to, no, I defend the Christian's right to any Christian's right to celebrate Christmas as a religious holiday and to do so as in the way that they wish. These people have lost their ever-living minds. Yes, no kidding. And it goes on. It's been, I think it was worse a few years ago. It's been tempered a bit, but it's still out there. You see this political correctness gone awry, where it's not politically correct at all anymore, really. It's political aberration. It's intolerance directed at a specific group of people, which is discrimination against any religion. Like the song Folks Dressed Up Like Eskimos literally just describes the clothing for the Arctic weather. Like the song Folks Dressed Up Like Eskimos. It literally describes the clothing for the Arctic weather where they live. So, yeah, I mean, well, it's racist, right? Okay. Yeah, there are examples through history where, yeah, stuff gets pretty racist, has been racist in the time. And so for, and I'm going to run something in a little while to illustrate that. But I don't know, man. Like they just take it too far. Like White Christmas, the movie, some people wanted that banned a couple of years ago because it was like White Christmas. What the F? So like walking in a winterland was not made to be racist. This person says, was to explain how cold it was. Too many people take offense to too many things, and their brains are not screwed on right. Yeah. Yet we're all supposed to shut up when they change our Merry Christmas to Happy Holidays. And you see, this is why I get so much backlash out there. It is. If they would just back off a little bit, you wouldn't get the responses that we have today. But they're allowed to say Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and so on and so forth. We don't change their ways. This being super polite, so it's not to offend. It's gone out of hand. People need to lighten the hell up. Yeah. Yeah. Just chill. Tolerance, man. Like you tolerate me, I'll tolerate you. You do your thing, I'll do my thing. We leave each other alone. Or, where we have to. Just picture this. You're driving through all these lights, listening on the radio to their channel that plays the Christmas music. And as you're driving through, and then all of a sudden there's blank spots in the Christmas music. Like they literally blank it out, start thinking there was something wrong with the speakers. Oh, yeah. And all of these lights for different religions, they weren't there before, but they put them there this year. So because they want to be politically correct for everybody else but us, I won't be going again. That sucks. Yeah, I mean, it's a Christian holiday. Like, live with it. And there are a lot of Christians around here, so that's what we do. Merry Christmas. And I think, of all the examples, what can I think of? White Christmas. Oh, there's Baby, It's Cold Outside. That came under fire because that suggested there might be inappropriate coercion taking place to non-consensual advances for sexual things, whatever. I don't know. I never really thought of it that way. Except it was flirting maybe, but I didn't realize that it was that serious. Guess I'm just old-fashioned, maybe to a fault. If I ever said, gee, it's really cold outside and I offended anybody, I'm really sorry. Kind of, not really. Because it's cold outside. What other things have they gone after? I'm going to look in the chat. I'll have to go to Rumble too, I guess. Anybody else got examples of that? What other ones were there? There's a bunch for Christmas. Just not coming to mind. But they've tried to get whole movies taken. Or Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer because of bullying. So they tried to get that destroyed. And I think there is some truth to the fear that some people, political activists who are secular, maybe even satanic, whatever their religion might be, they're trying to destroy Christmas. There's an attack on Christmas and Christianity. There are people like that. There are. and other people are just trying to be non-offensive and politically correct. It's nothing new, really. It's gone on for a long time. So that's why I was thinking, as an example, this old Disney cartoon, what do they call them? The Silly Symphony cartoons. One of them is called Santa's Workshop, 1932. And so it's a short. I'm going to run this. Santa Claus and his elves are preparing toys in the North Pole Workshop, which is in Canada. And I don't know if they're unionized or not, but they certainly there would have labor laws to protect the elves. And Santa checks his list of naughty and nice children. Of course, in 1932, I think the work standards might have been different here in Canada. Nevertheless, so he's checking his list of naughty and nice children, and the elves assemble and parade hundreds of toys before loading them into Santa's sack. And the controversy with this Disney short from 32 comes from stereotypical depictions, which were common in 1930s animation, most notably a black doll that exclaims, "Mammy," in a caricatured voice and then turns to moon the camera with Santa laughing approvingly. I guess that's where the Nicki Minaj tie-in comes here. I don't think they called it twerking in 1932, though. These scenes, widely criticized as racist caricatures and later re-releases and modern platforms like Disney Plus have edited out those moments. It's like you're driving, except they do it more skillfully, so you don't just get blanks like our Maverick did at the Festival of Lights thing or whatever they call it in that community, where the song just gets a blank hole. Just mute it for 10 seconds. But they've edited out these moments in modern versions of these, adding content warnings about harmful stereotypes. And while not controversial in its era, when these portrayals were normalized, it has been targeted for alterations and restricted viewing in recent decades. And so the full uncut version is what I think we have here for you tonight. And we're just gonna run it, and hopefully we don't get struck somehow or whatever. I want to run it for educational purposes to show you what the original uncut version is like. Many of you probably have seen it, especially when you were younger, because they were still running when I was a kid. So has that really influenced my views on things? I guess my views have changed, somewhat over time. When you're a kid, you're very easily influenced, I guess, or more easily influenced. I don't know. You guys tell me in the chat, what have your views on things like this evolved as people have tried to make us all more aware, I guess, to wake us up or make us more woke, however you want to call it. And is it justified, not justified? Should we just run this stuff anyway? Because at the time it was what it was and it was socially acceptable, but today not socially acceptable. So do you have to edit everything from the past to make it politically correct today? I don't know. Difficult issues, man. Let's run this. 1932, Santa's Workshop, Disney. And I'd say that was the politically correct version. Because the stuff that was supposed to be in there, I didn't see it. Did you guys see it? I didn't see it. The mammy thing? I didn't see it. Looks like must have been cut out. Of course, they kept the butt stamps. The butt stamp stuff in there. Let me just check over on Rumble too. Did anybody, there was stuff in there that I think could be deemed racist. I just didn't see the I didn't see the things that were supposed to be there that were the most egregious. It was a different time, you know? It just was. So if you edit all that stuff out, it changes history too. I don't know. I don't know. Difficult stuff. So that's kind of where we're at tonight. Censorship issues over at CBS, censorship issues with movies, like even It's a Wonderful Life. It was under fire in its day because it was seen by some, including in the government. I think they were investigated by the FBI for being anti-capitalist. Yeah, It's a Wonderful Life. Frank Capra, who made pro-government flicks, propaganda films, actually, Frank Capra did. He was like Mr. America, Mr. American cinema in that day, and they came after him for being anti-capitalist. Different times. 2025 now. I don't know if things have changed all that much because they're banning books, even as they claim to be promoting free speech. And even the Nicki Minaj thing last night, just to pivot back to that for just a moment. Pivot. I didn't follow up on a comment that I wanted to make last night because if you listen to what she said, she talked about free speech and how people are not being allowed to say what they want to say and think what they want to think. And then later, she said in that interview, such as it was, we cannot allow those people to take power or get into power or even get elected, I guess. I thought, well, depends on what you mean by that. Does that mean like you have to fight really hard through the democratic process to get your people elected, to get what you want? That's fine. But if what she's saying is you can't let them get elected, how far do you take that? That wasn't really clarified. That kind of language can be taken a couple of different ways, maybe more than a couple of different ways. And so there are people out there who have given up on democracy, and a lot of them within the populist movement. As a result, you're seeing, I think, those people get sucked even further over to the extreme on that side of the political spectrum. And what they are advocating for scares the hell out of me. And I would say that even the administration, the way that it sits right now, as much as they say that they're committed to the Constitution, they're not. They are the Trump administration 2.0. I don't think that they're committed to democracy. I think they're so fed up, or at least that they've convinced themselves that they should be so fed up that the system is rigged, that they're busy rigging the whole thing. The other thing I came across, I was thinking a lot about that last night while I was sleeping. There are some people who use phrases like, certainly within the sovereign citizens movement, that are, as Alex Jones has said, they're an integral part of the MAGA movement. And there's a phrase that is out there, sovereign soul. And even sovereign citizen. And I had we did this segment on the sovereign citizen who said some things that, as a sovereign citizen who is above the law, I pointed out that it's contradictory because this movement is largely, again, evangelical, Christian, believes in God, traditional values. And the sovereign citizen movement rightly believes that rights come from a higher place, except that in their language and in their belief system, in their ideology, the one of the big flaws is that they are putting their sovereignty as individuals above even God, certainly above the state, where their rights become paramount over everything. But that simply leads to chaos, because at some point everyone has to be held accountable, or there has to be a process there of accountability, and there's always some limit placed on where rights go, because everyone has to have rights, and therefore you have to respect other people's rights, or nobody really has rights. It's just results in anarchy and chaos and conflict and people walking down the street with guns, and we get what we get in the law of in international relations today, where it's like the law of the jungle, right? That the guy with the most guns rules, or the biggest nuclear bomb. So this sovereign citizen language, it's contradictory, because if you say that you're a sovereign soul, that's to say that your soul is sovereign. And as I've looked at the language surrounding all of this, that in itself, again, that puts you, even after death, as a sovereign person, a sovereign individual. Your soul is, you think, is sovereign. And so you're above even the law of God. Oh, no, no, I mean it. So this ideology is entirely flawed. And it just leads to a lot of what we have going on right now. And there's a big belief out there that there's this shadow government that's running, that really pulls all the strings. And yet, you know what I've come to realize, and I fleshed this out last night. When Trump lost re-election for the presidency, or you can say it was stolen, you can believe whatever you want. Regardless, it doesn't matter. He always said the system was rigged. And he actually was running a shadow government. And that's why a lot of people were saying he's still the president. Trump never is still the president. Remember all that talk? Still the president, still the president, still the president. Yeah, he was running a shadow government. He had retired generals. He's had a lot of people who were working with him behind the scenes, and they used that structure to plan their comeback. And they were operating in the shadows, in the background, from Mar-a-Lago, as a sort of a shadow government, not really having full control of course, over the military, but you did have this, like, I think there were hundreds of them, and I've pointed this out before, this network where they were working within the MAGA movement, from General Flynn to, many others. And the sovereign citizens movement, especially on the US side, integral to that. And some people in Canada part of that too. I might dig into it more in the days, weeks ahead, because it helps you really understand what was going on at the time. This Q stuff, not all totally crazy, because this stuff was really going on. And it's you can demonstrate it, you can prove it, you can show it that it was happening. I'm not sure if it was constitutional or even legal for him to be doing it. I've described it as sort of the equivalent on the US side of, like in Canada, we have the Conservatives right now in opposition, and they run essentially a shadow cabinet, a shadow government of sorts, a government in waiting, but they're in Parliament and they're debating, and they get to vote on bills and new legislation and have input into everything that's going on. Even as sitting opposition members of Parliament, they have a voice. and it's legal. But in the States, the system is different. What Trump was doing, and I think that's why they really went after him so hard to get those documents from Mar-a-Lago. And it wasn't just because they wanted to go through Melania's underwear drawer. They were afraid, and they kind of knew what was going on, I think. So that's what we have here today. Speaking of law of the jungle, let me see if I can find this for you. The escalation off the coast of Venezuela still evolving. This here, drones, undersea drones. First, it was narco-terrorism, right? That was what we were being told. Narco-terrorism. We gotta take a Maduro because of the narco-terrorists. So they start blowing up the boats. Then, what is it now? It was, I've lost track of all the different reasons why they're justifying going after, well, then it was the oil because, yeah, this past couple of weeks, they stole the oil from the United States, which people can't understand. And I had to go and look at it. And it's because the oil companies had contracts there. Then the Venezuelan government nationalized the oil industry and kicked the Americans out because they wanted control of their resources. And then they went to court, and the Venezuelan government lost in international court, were ordered to pay damages, compensation to the oil companies, and much of that has not been paid. And so Trump is saying, you stole the land and you stole the oil. And I think it's open to dispute. And now you've got them sanctioning the tankers. And I don't think anybody else very few other people have really explained that. Like, I had to AI it that night on the program to understand what Trump was really talking about when he said that Venezuela stole the oil from the United States and they want it back. So that's his justification. And so what he's doing now is he's sanctioned the country, saying they're not allowed to sell your oil. And any tankers are sanctioned tankers. If they're caught with Venezuelan oil and transporting it, then they're seizing the tankers. So yesterday we told you there's a third tanker they were pursuing. And Trump said when they're just going to keep all the oil, and they're keeping the ships, which are flagged from various countries and just transporting the oil. But that's now a shadow fleet, and that's supposed to be illegal simply because the United States declared unilaterally that they were sanctioning the oil, and therefore that becomes then legal justification for them to do whatever they want to those tankers, and you can have those legal debates. And that gets pretty messy out there. Venezuela accusing Trump now and the administration on the U.S. side of acts of piracy, theft. You can decide for yourself what's really truly justified. What a mess. So those are the two original, well, first drugs, then they want the oil back. And now the third thing, drones, undersea drones. See if I can find the posts on this. I don't think it's getting mainstream, media attention yet. But this is what's being posted tonight on some channels. We'll just do a Twitter scroll here. I should have queued up the ones that I've seen. I think these are sort of like, as I've characterized them before, trial balloons to see what response they get from the public when they talk about this stuff. Breaking. Russia, Iran, and China are secretly selling high-tech laser-guided drones, missiles, and defense technologies to Venezuela to counter U.S. threats. So there's that. And then as you scroll down, Iranian weapons have been deployed in Venezuela. The Venezuelan army has deployed Zulfigar speedboats equipped with anti-ship missiles to deter British Navy warship. So limited posts on it, but it's out there. Where they're talking about these undersea drones. China has unveiled a hybrid drone capable of taking off from underwater. And these are the things that I think they're saying that could be off the coast of Venezuela and in the Caribbean. And they see that now as a substantial threat. Let me just change the search here. Yeah, right here. Toria Brook is the account. Not familiar with it. New. This is a new thing. It's right there in caps, new. Big brains on K Street suggests the U.S. presence in and around Venezuela is due to underwater Chinese drones or special ops unmanned submarines. These drones could threaten U.S. West Coast ports and or the Panama Canal, which, of course, Trump says is America's. Venezuela has allegedly been smuggling these Chinese drones, and they are now reportedly all over the Atlantic coast. Venezuela is said to be, a Chinese proxy. The Chinese drones are believed to be the world's largest and could sail more than 11,495 miles. An extended battery array enables the drones to extend range for 3,000 nautical miles underwater. Their weapons base could carry sea mines and between 8 and 12 torpedoes, threatening West Coast ports. Some of these drones measure more than 130 feet long. These accusations regarding U.S. intent in and around Venezuela are currently unverified. Yes, unverified. So qualifying it that way.
Neutralize these key maritime sites.
Okay. So unverified, but they're putting it out there nonetheless. And again, I think it's just a trial balloon to see if people will bite on it and believe it, if they can ramp that one up. Because I don't think the Trump administration at this point has the public support that they need or want in order to justify whatever kinds of strikes or whatever they're hoping or planning in Venezuela. They need the public. You think your vote doesn't matter, your voice doesn't matter, it matters a lot. They need you to support it. They need you to not just tolerate it, but be on board, like a substantial portion of the population. Or they keep it a secret, but this is too public. So they don't want to do anything, especially when Trump is the president who said that he's not going to get us involved in any more forever wars or regime change wars. And yet here he is saying today that Maduro would be smart to resign and leave the country. Smart. And you know who's in the wings waiting is the Machado who received the Nobel Peace Prize. Although I don't think that she's going to actually be the replacement for Maduro, going to be second in command. I don't know. I haven't really figured out who they'll actually install there if they get what they want. But this is, make no mistake, this is a regime change exercise. So there's that on December 23rd, 2025. 2 more sleeps. And then Santa comes. And through all this political correctness and looking back at the past, it makes me think of tradition. For me, Christmas is really about memories. It really is. And as we all get older, we have more of them. And the older you get, you realize that you have fewer Christmases ahead of you than you have behind you. So tonight, I'm going to bring you another song, and thank you to everybody who supported the program. Anybody that donates, I'll send you the album. Sent it out to some people last night, overnight, actually early this morning. The Maverick 25 Christmas album. And I think we've got some really nice songs on there that you can share with your family and maybe create some new memories this year for you and your families. But every year, you lose, you realize what you've lost in the past and you get misty about it, but you also think about what the future could bring, depending on what's going on with your family. You make new memories every year. But you remember, and you want things back. Sometimes if you just dream, take a moment and pause, you can find those memories again. You really can bring people back. So I have this tune. We worked on it for quite a while. Let me get it queued up here for you. Christmas once more. When you get old, maybe you lose somebody, maybe your wife. You can take these lyrics, a couple of different ways, but this is really what I had in mind when I was thinking about losing someone you love. And at Christmas, you need them back. And this is a song about how you can, or at least how this person, fill in the blank for yourself. How they, in this case, bring back their wife. In the frost and the light. Diffused, but shining through the window. See you guys tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, on the flip side.
One string of lights, we danced barefoot to the old radio show. You wore my sweater, I burned the pie, but we laughed in the window's glow. Snow falls quiet, clock strikes 10. I trace your name where crystals grow. Firelight flickers, the room is still, yet in the glass, it's years ago. I see you smile, I smell the pine, hear children's boots in the snow. You're hanging tinsel, stealing kisses like every Christmas we used to know. The light, the shadows bring you home again, through the frost upon the window pane. My life, my love, it's Christmas Eve, and I need you just once more, just once more. So I'll sit here till the morning glow, let the cold keep time for us. Your hand in mine, the world stands still. We're 25 and luminous. The light, the shadows brought you home tonight. I felt your breath in the candlelight. My life, my love, this Christmas Eve, you came back just once more, my darling, just once more. Snow falls soft, drifts through time. I leave our heart upon the pane. Merry Christmas, my love, till Christmas brings you home again.
This has been a Maverick multimedia production.